Welcome back to the Point Guard Cast with your host Sean and Corey.
I'm Sean. What's up?
How you doing, man?
I'm good again. How you doing?
Good. Ready for this NBA season? That's what I'm ready for.
Oh yeah, of course. I've been waiting.
It's so crazy that this NBA season about to start, but the season from 2 years, technically 2 seasons ago, was only a year ago.
Yeah, the champion from 2 years ago was crowned this month last year.
Right. That's so crazy to think about. What a crazy time we living in right now. I just thought about that. I was like, it's really only been a year since the Lakers won the 2020 chip. And that was technically 2 seasons ago, but that was only a year ago.
Right.
Like, that's crazy. Don't make any sense. But it's all good. So let's get into these predictions for this year. Some teams made some big moves this year. So I do know that that'll have an effect on some our predictions. So let's start with the East. Let's start at the bottom.
Right.
Who do you have as your 10th seed in the East?
My 10th seed in the East, I got Toronto.
The Raptors. Okay.
The Raptors. I think the Raptors, they're still going to be one of those teams that's pushing for a playoff spot, but without Kyle Lowry, and all the stuff. They took a step back last season. So, and I think they're going to take another step back this season because they lost their veteran point guard, Kyle Lowry. They went to the Miami Heat. We'll talk about them later, I'm sure. But like I said, yeah, Toronto. They took a step back last season. I think they're going to take another step back this season, and they're going to be not firmly in the playoffs, but a play-in option. I mean, a play-in type caliber team.
Okay. I can see that. Okay, it's funny because I actually also had the Raptors at 10. Once they lost Kyle Lowry, I was like, okay, I think it's going to be time for the Raptors to kind of get back into that rebuilding process.
Mm-hmm.
So
I like some of the players they got though. Like I like Gary Trent. I still like Fred VanVleet. They're probably gonna be their backcourt. Not a very defensive backcourt. Although Fred VanVleet can get after defensively a little bit. I know Gary Trent is not a very good defender.
No, but I definitely think he's been improving since he's gotten with this Raptors team because now he's with a team where he has a lot more responsibility on both ends of the floor.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, that was it. I just got Toronto and number 10.
Okay, cool. I think it's funny that we both have them 10. Okay, who you got for 9?
Oh yeah, you already said your 10. Yeah, for 9 I got New York.
Oh, the Knicks. Okay,
the Knicks. I like the Kemba Walker thing. When he went to the Knicks, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, go ahead.
I like the Kemba Walker thing, but yeah, I just think the East is going to be a little bit better this season than it was last season. And I think the Knicks, they're going to be in, what were they, the 7th seed last year?
The Knicks going into the playoffs?
Yeah.
I forgot where the Knicks were seeded. First of all, I'm surprised they even made the playoffs at all, but go ahead.
No, they were 5.
Yeah, I was about to say, no, they were pretty high because they were
pretty high. I might have to reevaluate that. I'm thinking they were like 7 or 8. No, they were 5. I might have to reevaluate that. But like I said, for right now, for the first half of the season, did we talk about that? Did we talk about these?
Yeah, this is just through the first half. Go ahead.
Yeah, I have the Knicks. Who do you have?
For the 9th seed, I got the Pacers. I got my Pacers. Only reason why I had them 9th is because the biggest thing with them is they just need to be healthy. You need TJ Warren to be healthy. You need Karis LeVert to be healthy. Also, Karis LeVert and TJ Warren didn't get to play with each other last year because TJ Warren was out. So I feel like they're going to need a year to kind of mesh and gel and see how they work together. I do like Rick Carlisle being back in Indy, but I think for the first half of the season, they'll be figuring some things out. Now, I could be wrong, and they could be great in the first half and terrible in the second half, kind of like last year. But I'm hoping that they start off the first half of the season slow through the All-Star break and then pick it up the back half of the season. But I'm not 100% sure if they will. But we will see. We'll see. So that's the only reason why I have them 9. I'm hoping that it's one of those things where I'm hoping that they prove me wrong. hoping that the Pacers are able to prove me wrong, especially because that's my team. But we'll see. I do like the rookie and Chris Duarte. Though. He is nice. That kid's been killing it. But they've got a lot of really, like, their team is good. They have a really good team. When you got T.J. McConnell, T.J. Warren, Sabonis, Miles Turner, Karis LeVert, like, you got a really good squad. But I just think first they need the right coach, and I think that they have that in Rick Carlisle. But I just think that they still need more time together. That's really it. More time to figure it out. But then I just think that the East this year is really tough. So the East, to me, being tougher this year, Rick Carlisle's first year with this group, it'll be Karis LeVert and T.J. Warren's first year playing alongside each other. I just think that they may need some time to get it going. So that's really the only reason why I had them being 9. But I do hope that changes. First of all, I hope they prove me wrong. Of course, that changes.
It's always a little skepticism when it's your team, huh?
A little bit, yeah. Because I spoke so highly of them last year, and they disappointed me. So I was like, I don't know. But they just need to be healthy. That's the thing with the Pacers. They're a team that has to be healthy.
Yeah.
Karis LeVert has to be healthy. T.J. Warren has to be healthy. Those two can be healthy and can play together really well. They'll be just fine, for sure.
Yeah, and Sabonis has to stay healthy, too. We can't forget that.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. They just need to be healthy, get used to Rick Carlisle's schemes, and I think they'll be fine. But I think it'll take time to get there. So who do you have for your 8th seed in the East?
The Pacers, for a lot of the reasons you said. So we can just move on. Who do you have for 8?
I got the Wizards. I think a lot of people are sleeping. I want to put the Wizards higher, but I can't yet because I just haven't. I got to see it in the regular season. But I do think that a lot of people are going to sleep on their offensive, their moves that they made in the offseason.
Yeah, me included, because I don't even have them listed right here.
Oh, you don't?
No, I don't. Because, like, who do you take off? As I get up in my standings, I'm thinking, like, who am I taking off to put the Wizards on?
Oh, that's true.
But yeah, what we at 8?
Yeah. So I got the Wizards. I like the moves that they made in the offseason. I do still need to see it happen, though. That's the biggest thing. We do have to see how Kuz and Bill work together in the regular season. See how Trez works with them in the regular season. I think people are going to sleep on them a little too much and think that they aren't going to be a playoff contender, but I think that they will be. But I just don't think they'll be like a crazy high playoff contender, if that makes sense. Who you got for your 7th seed in the East?
I got Chicago. I like the move that Chicago made. I like the Alex Caruso move, but obviously I would have wanted to keep Alex Caruso on the Lakers, so I dislike it as well. I like the Lonzo Ball move.
Right.
And the DeMar DeRozan move was something I didn't see coming. But I feel like it could end up working in their favor. I like them at the 7th seed in the play-in tournament and possibly, making the playoffs. What about you? Who you have at 7?
Okay, it's funny that you got them 7 because I got them 7 also.
Okay.
I'm with you. I like the moves that they made. Again, I've been saying since last year that they needed to make moves to keep Zach LaVine happy, especially since he's already expressed that he wouldn't mind playing with some other stars in the league at one point, and that he just needed a place that was going to give him what he needed to be able to make the playoffs and show what he could do. The first step was getting Vucevic last year. And then the second step was getting DeMar DeRozan, Lonzo Ball, Alex Caruso. I do think that they'll be special. I think they're another team who's going to take it slow to start.
I think they're a year away, though, from actually being.
Okay, I can see that too. That's the thing. I can see that too. But I just feel like I can't sleep on them too much. So I think that if they are to make the playoffs, I do think they may be a play-in team. But that could change. They could be seeded higher. It just all depends on how the season goes. But they are a team that I really do want to watch closely this year, though. Who do you have for your 6th seed in the East?
I got Atlanta, the Hawks.
Oh, you got the Hawks, okay.
Yeah, the Hawks. The Hawks, they last year they proved to me that they could overcome adversity like they did in New York. They can overcome stars like they did against Philadelphia. They were a solid team that were ahead of schedule last season, and I think they're going to be even better this season. So yeah, Hawks, that's 6.
Okay, interesting. I have the Celtics at 6.
Ooh, okay.
I feel like the Celtics are a decent team every year. They're always going to be a playoff contending team.
Yeah, they're a weird bunch.
But they just, I don't know. I feel like they just disappoint me every year.
They could be 7th seed or they could be conference finals. You never know.
You never know. So I really don't know what the Celtics are going to do this year. They're very weird. I got them at 6, but it's only because the 5 teams that are ahead of them, I like the moves that they made in the offseason. I like them as a more complete team, especially in terms of playoffs. But I'm not sleeping on them being a higher seed, though. Like, they could for sure be a higher seed. Their biggest question is just what are they going to do come playoff time? That's really it.
Yeah.
Who do you have for your 5th seed?
My 5th seed, strictly because I don't know what they're going to do with a certain player. I'm pretty sure he's probably not going to be back. They're probably going to trade him somewhere else. Hopefully they can get something back in return. I have the Philadelphia 76ers, and I'm talking about Ben Simmons. I don't know what they got going on with Ben Simmons. I don't know what they're going to do with Ben Simmons. I don't know what Ben Simmons has in his head right now. But if they can get something good in return for Ben Simmons, I think they could be a little bit higher. But for right now, I got them 5th.
Wow. Okay.
Because they still have everything that they had around Ben Simmons, and I think they still have the shooting that they need around Joel Embiid to be successful. I think if Joel Embiid can be healthy this season, I think they will be a decent team this season. Like I said, middle of the road, 5th seed. But if they can get something good in return for Ben Simmons, which right now I have no idea if they're going to be able to, then I think they can be even higher. And I obviously think they could be lower too. I think that the Hawks can pass them. I think that if the Knicks get hot, they can pass them. I think Chicago, if they get hot, they can pass them. So, yeah.
Okay. I like that. Good explanation. Okay, so for my 5th seed, I got the Hawks.
Right.
I got the Hawks based off how they played last year. They shocked everybody with such a deep playoff run last year, making it to the conference finals. I don't think that they're a team that's going to be in a fight to be a top 3 seed to start the season. So I feel like they'll be very comfortable being a 4th, 5th, 6th seed up until the All-Star break. But I do think that they are going to change their ways after the All-Star break. Wherever they're seeded in the first half, they'll most likely be seeded higher in the second half of the season. So I got them at the 5th seed just because I think there's going to be some teams that sleep on them, but then I do think there's going to be certain teams that take them very serious, especially the 4 teams that I have ahead of them. They're going to take them very serious throughout the first half of the season. And so I think teams will be a lot tougher on them after seeing what they were able to do last year. And teams will get them a different way and take them a lot more serious. So I think the Hawks right there, that 5th seed for me is good, but I do see them being higher. I really don't see them being anything lower than the 5th seed though. And then who do you your 4th seed?
Gotcha. My 4th seed, I got Boston.
Okay.
I just think that they're an established team, right? They have a new coach coming in, though. You can't really call them that young anymore. The Celtics have been young for 4 years. At some point they're going to grow up.
That's true.
At some point, when the Celtics this season, the Celtics last season was kind of disappointing, right? They started off slow. They tried to fix it towards the end, but they weren't able to. They lost to Brooklyn in the playoffs in a kind of a I ain't gonna say dominating, but it was convincing. They still have Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, a very good 1-2 duo. But you just never know what the Celtics do until you watch them. So they could be top 3 seed, or they could be top 7 seed, like I said earlier. But for right now, I have them at 4.
Okay, I respect that. Okay, for my 4th seed, I got the Miami Heat.
Okay.
I like the moves that they made. I like getting Kyle Lowry. I like getting PJ Tucker. The PJ Tucker move I didn't see coming. I like them getting PJ Tucker. And I just think I just feel like they're going to have something to prove this season. To me, they're not a team that needs to be ranked high for them to be a good playoff contender, but then you saw how they lost last year. A lot of people have been saying they're bubble frauds for the last 2 seasons. Well, ever since 2 seasons ago when they were able to make it into the finals. And I just think they'll be revamped, finally have a normal or a longer off season. And we'll finally have a normal season, somewhat of a normal season this year. So I just think that they'll have some momentum going into the season and will be able to prove a lot of people wrong from not only the first half of the season, but the second half. So I've got the Heat as my 4th seed. What do you have as your 3 seed?
I got the Heat as my 3 seed.
Oh, you had them 3. Okay.
Yeah. I love the Kyle Lowry. I love the Kyle Lowry move. I think he's going to be exactly what they needed to contend again in the Eastern Conference. I think they're going to be really good. I think if they can stay healthy, Bam can stay healthy, Bam can be a Defensive Player of the Year candidate.
For sure.
I think that Jimmy Butler is, Jimmy Butler. And I think that when Jimmy Butler led that team to a finals, I don't want to call it a fluke because it wasn't. I think it was somewhere in the middle. I think Jimmy Butler is very capable, and I think when you have a team around him like this, I think they can make some noise. I like the PJ Tucker move, strictly because they took him away from the Bucks. So I like it for the Heat. I don't like it for the Bucks, and I think that that might affect the Bucks a little bit more than it helps the Heat. But either way, the Heat, I have them at 3.
Okay, I respect that. I did not expect you to have them seated that high, but when you didn't say them, I was like, dang, where you got the Heat? Okay, I like that. My 3 seed, I got the 76ers.
Okay, so you just think they're going to be okay with all the stuff they got going on?
I mean, I just think their 76ers are a really good regular season team. Like, even with all the stuff they have going on with Ben Simmons, they're still focused on trying to find a way to make it deep into the playoffs or to make it to the finals, whether they have him or not. Again, that was the whole point of getting Doc Rivers. That was the whole point of getting a new GM and Daryl Morey. I think they'll be just fine for at least the first half of the regular season, especially because a lot of people, if they were to not have been, like, they don't trade Ben Simmons come the start of the season, but he doesn't play and they do bad, then a lot of people are going to equate that to, they need Ben Simmons. So I just feel like they're going to have something to prove, especially Joel Embiid, who was an MVP candidate last year. And at one point was the number 1 MVP candidate when LeBron went down, but then unfortunately he went down. If he is healthy, I think that there's still a top 3-4 seed for sure. That's why I've got them so high. But also, again, they want to prove something because, again, if they're terrible throughout the first half of the year without Ben Simmons, people are going to say, okay, well, clearly they need Ben Simmons.
Or they need to do something with Ben Simmons to get somebody that can help.
Right. But I can already tell, like, Joel Embiid and Doc Rivers isn't trying to hear that. So I know that they're going to be able to prove something, at least for the first of the season. So that's the reason why I have them as the 3. Who do you have for your 2 seed?
The defending champion Bucks.
Okay.
Did I really need to say more? Because you know who's ahead of them. So I don't really have to. I think the Bucks are coming in trying to prove that last season was no fluke because all these other teams were out, and you know what happened with Kevin Durant, his foot on the line, and how they would have lost maybe if his foot wasn't on the line and all that type of stuff. I think they're trying to prove that they're running the playoffs and their championship was no fluke, but I don't think they're trying to prove that by being the first seed. I think they're trying to prove that by repeating in the playoffs.
True. Very true. Okay. I respect that. I got the Bucks number 2 also.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much the same reasons you just named. Also because to me they proved last year that they finally stopped caring about we got to be the 1 seed, and they cared more about, okay, as long as we're a 3 seed, we'll be fine. We just need to make sure we got everybody healthy going into the postseason. Mm-hmm. And now they're a team that's more focused on the postseason than they are the regular season. So even with them being me having them a 2 seed for this before the All-Star break, they could end up dropping down to a 3 seed in the second half, but yet still be a great team and still be a team that ends up making it out the East.
Yeah, I never understood the infatuation with being the top seed, because in the playoffs, all you have to do is win one. If you're good enough, you believe you can win one road game to swing the series. And if you're the first seed, the second seed, all they got to do is win one road game and swing it the other way. So, like, either way, if you're a championship caliber team, you shouldn't worry about whether you're 1, 2, or 3 seed. You don't want to drop past 4, but
right,
because you want to avoid the top teams in matchups. But then again, not avoid, because you shouldn't be afraid of anybody. But you get what I'm saying.
No, I get what you mean, but teams do avoid other teams.
Yeah,
they just don't speak on it. I knew you were gonna say it. But yeah, that's kind of how I feel about the Bucks. That's why I got their number 2 also. I think they lost that obsession with being the 1 seed so much, and they just like, as long as we're a top 3 seed, we're fine. And then of course, Nets number 1.
Yeah, same.
With or without Kyrie.
Yeah, same.
Also, I definitely feel like they'll be out to prove something with the way they lost last year. Thinking about the foot on the line thing. Game 7, how overtime went. Like, they'll just take all of those things into account going into this season. And I just think they'll be able to prove something. So I think they'll be the 1 seed. Do I think that'll change, especially if Steve Nash decides to load manage KD this year the way he did last year? I do, especially if they don't have Kyrie and it is all on James Harden for a few games. I do think that kind of does change whether or not they're 1 seed, but they'll be a top 3 seed though. Even if KD does have to lower manage this year and it's all on James Harden, they could still be a top 3 seed for sure.
Yep.
So, pretty interesting East, actually. I do think it's crazy that it's not crazy, but the fact that I don't have the Knicks on here,
and the fact that I don't have the Wizards.
Yeah, I think, I'm not saying I'm sleeping on the Knicks, but I do feel like last year, I don't want to say it's a fluke, but I do feel like I don't know if they can repeat that same type of success. I don't think them adding Kemba Walker makes them that much better. To me, I think if they do anything this year, they'll kind of be in the same spot they were last year. I don't know if they'll be way better than what they were last year. I think they'll kind of be between like 5 and 8 if they are to make it. But I don't know whose spot they would take in this East though. But we'll see. I feel like I might be sleeping on them too much, but we'll see. We'll see. Okay, let's get on over to the West now. We'll start at 10. So I'll start with my 10th seed. My 10th seed, I got the Pelicans.
I also have the Pelicans at 10.
Okay. Pelicans are just young, man.
Yeah.
They're young. Go ahead.
Have you heard all the stuff about Zion being unhappy? I don't necessarily believe it, but I've seen it all over the place.
It might be true. It didn't seem like Lonzo was too happy towards the end of the year last year either. So I feel like that might be a true statement, and there might be some things going on behind the scenes in New Orleans that is really kind of hindering their growth as a team. And I feel like they'll still feel those issues going into this season.
Yeah, I have somebody else I want to talk about too, with kind of that on that same type of wavelength when we get to them. But
okay, that's fine. But yeah, I got the Pelicans at 10. They got a chance to make it into the playoff. If they do, it would have to be through the play-in tournament. But outside of that, I don't really know how they'll be this year. I just think everybody ahead of them is just a better team. For my 9th seed team, I had the Grizzlies.
I also have the Grizzlies. The Pelicans and the Grizzlies probably playing in that play-in tournament for that A seed.
Okay, I respect that
for the right to play. How does the play-in tournament work again? the 7 and 8 play, the 9 and 10 play. The loser of 7 and 8 plays the winner of 9 and 10 for the 8th seed. Yeah.
Right.
So
yeah, I like to play in, but at the same time, I'm kind of old school in the sense where the top 8 teams should just make it. Like, because kind of like last year with Steph technically being the 8th seed, but then losing to the Lakers and then losing to the Grizzlies. Technically, if there was no play-in, he technically made the playoffs last year. Yeah, this is the old school format, but since it's not, now those people who are 9th and 10th seeds, I mean, I do like that you give them a chance, but at the same time, I don't know. I'm just kind of big on if you make the 8th seed, you're in it.
Man, yeah. The West has a lot of teams, man. I'm looking at my list and I'm like, why do I have this team under this team over this team? I'm just like all over the place with this. But let's see if the trend continues with us being on the same page.
Who do you got
for my AC? I got Portland.
Oh, you got Portland. Okay, I got the Clippers for my AC.
You got the Clippers for your AC. Okay.
Yeah, let me explain why I got the Clippers. I got the Clippers as the AC because they're gonna miss Kawhi for the majority of the year.
Yeah, that's why I have the Clippers.
He's not gonna rush that ACL back, and he shouldn't.
I have the Clippers 7.
Oh, 7. Okay, yeah. He's not gonna rush that ACL injury, and he shouldn't at all. I do think
I wouldn't even come back this season if I was him, unless they like have a real chance. Unless he's healthy, come almost playoff time, and they have a real chance of like making a run. If I was him, I'd just sit it out. Well, he might not do that.
I agree with that, but I feel like he won't unless he has any issues or unless, like you said, it just looked like if they're like a 9th or 10th seed, I don't think he would come back. But I do think that Paul George can kind of hold it down for him for most of the season. I do think for that back half of the season, they'll definitely need Kawhi, especially depending on where they are seated. But I do think the beginning of the season, they will struggle. So that's the reason why I had them as the 8th seed to start. But that could change. It depends on when Kawhi comes back. Depends on if they make any more moves throughout the season. We'll see. But I got them as my 8th seed.
I got them at 7. Who's your 7?
I got the Warriors as my 7th seed.
Okay.
Because they're still not going to have Kawhi back the first part of the season. He might not. I mean, not Kawhi. Excuse me. Klay. They're still not going to have Klay back to start the season. They talked about him not coming back until around All-Star time or even after. Yeah. So I know that they got Iggy back, which is good. You got Steph, you got Draymond, but I just don't feel like it's enough to make them like a top 5 or top 4 seed just yet. I could be wrong though. I think Steph is going to have another crazy year like he did last year, but is it going to equate to wins? I don't know. It didn't really equate to wins last year. It didn't equate to a lot of wins last year. I mean, people still play them tough because they are the Warriors. Mm-hmm. You're not going to play the Warriors the same way you play the Kings or the Pelicans or the Grizzlies. So, I mean, I do give them that, but I just really think that they need Klay. I think they need that extra scoring threat to take a lot of attention and focus off Steph. I mean, they can't have some young players step up. Like Jordan Poole could definitely step up. He stepped up this preseason for sure, but I don't know. To me, I have to see it. I do think there'll be a playoff contending team, even if Klay doesn't come back this year for whatever reason. But I do think that to start, there will be a lower seed.
Mm-hmm. I have the Warriors at 6, so we basically talked about them as well. What do you have at 6?
I got the Mavericks at 6.
Okay.
Wait, did you have the 7?
I had the Clippers at 7.
Oh, okay. So we kind of right there. Okay, I got the Warriors at 6. Who do you have at 6?
You have the Warriors at 6.
I mean, not Warriors. I'm sorry, the Mavericks at 6. Who do you have at 6?
I have. Okay, hold up. You have the Clippers at 8. I have Portland at 8.
Okay.
You have the Warriors at 7. I have the
Warriors
Clippers
at 7.
You have Dallas at 6. I have the Warriors at 6.
Right. That is crazy. Okay, why do you have them being a 6 seed and not anything lower? I mean, 6 seed is still low, but I got them kind of in a play-in situation. Why do you have them above a play-in?
Because I just think Steph Curry, man. It's just Steph Curry, man. I think that I think he's gonna be an MVP candidate again. I think he's gonna try to prove that he's still Steph Curry and he can carry his team to where they need to be. I think that they know that Klay is coming back eventually, so they're not gonna sit around and wait on him. They're gonna try to win games while they can until he can get back. I just think that they're just in that type of time,
Okay.
that type of mindset.
Okay, I believe that. I can see that. I pretty much had the Mavericks at 6 because if they have a healthy Porzingis, they could be a higher seed, but he's so hit or miss health-wise. I don't like how things ended with Rick Carlisle and Luka. Luka's going to be Luka and have a great season, but I don't know how things are going to pan out for Dallas necessarily. I think they're missing a piece or two, and maybe it's a coaching thing for them to get over that hump and kind of be like a top 3-4 seed in the West. But I just think the sixth seed is like a good spot for them. I don't think they'll be in the play-in, but I don't think that they'll be a top 3 seed this year either. So
yeah, I got Dallas at 5, so we're just right there.
Okay, well, my 5th seed, I got the Trailblazers.
Okay.
Who do you have for your 5th? Oh, you got Dallas at your 5th seed. I got the Trailblazers as the 5th seed because Dame is going to be Dame.
Yeah, that's basically what I said about Steph Curry. That's why I got them.
He's going to win games. I feel like the regular season is never really a question for the Trailblazers. It's always the postseason. It's always the postseason or what happens towards the end of the season. So I think they'll be great to start, but they are a team that could drop in this after the All-Star break. They're a team that shouldn't, but I think that they'll be, again, really good team to start. But I do, as the season goes on and as we get closer to playoff time, that could be when they lose a lot more games to drop. So they're a team that I got right in the middle, but they could go either up or down depending on how their season goes this year. So we'll see. For my 4th seed, I got the Nuggets.
Yeah, I also have the Nuggets at 4.
Okay. Nuggets getting Jamal Murray back will help out a lot. Jokic played really well this past season. He's going to do his thing again. His playmaking, his rebounding, his scoring always helps the Nuggets to be a higher seeded team because he does all 3 of those things so well. Michael Porter Jr. is going to have an even better year this year.
He better.
I think he will. I definitely think he will. I think he'll have an even better year this year. I like the move they made with getting Kim Pazzo. I just think they're always going to be a 3, 4, 5 seed team in the West every year. I think, honestly, if Jamal Murray can come back and look like himself, I can see them being a top 3 seed. It's going to be kind of hard when you first come off an ACL injury playing like yourself, but they're a team that the back half of the season, they can look like a 3 seed team, like a top 3 seed team in the West. So we'll see what happens with them. But they're a team that I don't see dropping anything below like 4 or 5. Like I don't see them being a play-in type of team whatsoever.
Me either, barring injuries though. You gotta take that into account.
True. That is very true. Okay, for my 3 seed, I got the Lakers.
Okay. For my 3 seed, go ahead.
I only got the Lakers just because you do have AD and LeBron who are going to be healthy this year. They're getting a long off season. They're going to be healthy this year. They're going to be fine. But with all the new additions, yeah, exactly. All the new additions that they have, they're going to need time. Now, I do like the fact that they were able to bring Dwight Howard back, and he's played great for them in the preseason. They were able to bring Rondo back. That's great. Yeah. They were able to bring Avery Bradley back recently. That's great. But I do think adding Melo and Westbrook, that's going to take some time to figure out how to fit those two into what they do offensively and defensively, but especially offensively. But also, we saw the Lakers last year to start the season. I mean, they were coming off a short postseason, but they were kind of coasting through the year. And as they were coasting, they were still a top 2 seed.
Yeah. And they're probably going to coast through this first half of
exactly.
the season too.
They're going to coast, but also try to figure out things while they're kind of coasting. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. And that's gonna lead to some losses.
Right. Some losses that they probably shouldn't have, but it's bound to happen.
So I probably need to reevaluate why I have them in the same. You kind of convinced me to move them.
Oh, I did? Okay. I wasn't trying to, but yeah, that's just how I feel about them. I feel like it's going to take some time. But also, they're a team that's just not worried about being the number one seed. They don't care. They don't care. As long as they make it in the playoffs, they just care about health. That's what they care about. Especially after last season, all they care about is being healthy. But now they're caring about being healthy and then making these new pieces fit.
Yep. I just moved them from 2 to 3.
Okay.
So I also had them at number 3 for the same reasons you put, maybe even a little bit lower. I don't know. It just depends on how long it takes for them to adapt to what they're trying to do with the interesting roster that they have. Because
yeah, it's very interesting, right?
Watching it on the floor in the preseason, it's kind of like, well, what are y'all doing? Like Russell Westbrook had more turnovers than he did anything in the playoffs. I mean, in the preseason, right?
Right. He did.
It's just like he's got to figure some stuff out. Like he said, they don't count yet. So, when they start counting, I'm gonna start getting a little frustrated. But hopefully, he can figure it out before that happens.
Right, and I think they will. But I definitely think right, it will. But I think they'll get it figured out for sure in the second half of the season. After that All-Star break, making that playoff push is when they'll look how they'll look in the playoffs. They'll kind of give you a glimpse of what they'll look like on playoff time. So it'll take time. My 2 seed, I have the Utah Jazz.
I also have the Utah Jazz at number 2, and that means we have Phoenix at number 1. So our West was really, really, really close.
It was kind of back and forth. So how do you have the Jazz number 2 and not number 1?
Because I think they're a regular season team. I think that they're going to do a lot of things that they did last year to win the games that they won last year.
Okay.
I think that like I say every single year, I don't know how well that's going to translate to the playoffs with Rudy Gobert being the second best player and limited on offense. You really need somebody else that can carry the load on offense in the playoffs. But we're not talking about the playoffs right now. I'm talking about the first half of the season. So for the first half of the season, I got Jazz, the number 2 seed.
Okay, I respect it. I got them being the number 2 seed just because, well, first of all, they are a really good regular season team. They definitely take being a top 2 seed serious in the regular season. That's something that they care about. And they pretty much take every game in the regular season serious. Like where a lot of teams take games off, the Jazz really don't.
Oh yeah, the Jazz play hard.
They really don't take games off in the regular season at all.
That's because when you have a bunch of young, hungry guys that hasn't really done anything, hasn't really won anything, they're hungry.
Right, exactly. So that's the reason why.
Get a bunch of veterans together, like the Lakers have, or the Nets have. You can they're gonna like let you down a couple games. Like some of the games that they should win, they're probably not gonna win. It's an 82 game series, 82 game season. You're probably gonna lose to like a bad team at some point. Like you're probably gonna lose to the Hornets at some point in the season, maybe.
Right, it's bound to happen. Just like the Lakers are probably gonna lose to the Kings a couple times during the regular season.
Mm-hmm.
But I also had the number 2 just because I think the Suns will be able to prove even more than the Jazz in the regular season. Because I know they feel some type of way with the way that they lost last year in the finals, especially with how well they played throughout the playoffs up until the finals and the teams that they beat to get to the finals. And so I know that there are people who, just like the Bucks, they felt like the Suns were kind of a fluke. That yes, they were a great team the back half of last season, but a lot of people say, well, if LeBron and AD are healthy, they don't beat them. If Kawhi is healthy, they don't beat the Clippers. So with people kind of doubting them and doubting the fact that they made it last year and saying that they only made it because of injuries, I just think that they'll be ready to prove people wrong going into this season. So I feel like they'll do what they can to fight for being the 1 seed and maybe even being the number 1 overall seed in the NBA, at least through the first half. But even if they'll do it for the first half, I feel like they would do the same thing for the second half also. So we will see. But that's pretty much why I had them the number 1 team. I just feel like they have a chip on their shoulder for this season because of what happened last season and because of all the naysayers in this offseason.
Yeah, I completely agree with that, 100%. What else we talking about next? Are we going to talk about award?
Yeah, I got a couple of award picks for this year. Who do you have? Do you have it? You have any or no? You got some? Okay, I'll go first. For my MVP, I got Damian Lillard.
Okay, interesting.
Not gonna lie, I think it's finally Dame's time to win the MVP. I think he's gonna be hungry this year, especially with all the stuff that happened in the offseason where he might be going here, he might be going there, but then he decided to stay in Portland. Even if his team doesn't make it deep into the playoffs, or even if they don't make the playoffs this year, I just think individually he's gonna have a crazy season. It's gonna be hard for him to win MVP though if they don't make the playoffs. But
yeah, like I said, like I was going to say, like a Bradley Beal type of situation.
Yeah, but I think Dame is just gonna go off this year though.
Well,
I think he's gonna go off this year, and I think he'll end up being the MVP. If not Dame, I can see it being Steph.
Okay.
Steph had a great year last year. He's gonna have a great year this year too because there's still no Klay, especially through the first half of the season. And even when Klay comes back, I think Klay will just have to get back into the flow of the game. So Steph or Dame for me, but I'm edging Dame a little bit.
Yeah. My MVP, I'm gonna go with Devin Booker.
Okay.
Some new blood for MVP. I just think that he's gonna be hungry, and I think he's a little disappointed about last season ended. I think that he put himself on the map in his first time being on the mainstream stage, like the Phoenix Suns on TV multiple times because they were 2 seed or whatever. His first time being on the mainstream stage, because he did it last season, but he flourished in it, and I think he's gonna flourish even more. I think he put his name on the map, and I think that he's gonna be a candidate for MVP at least, and might even win it.
Okay, I like that. I can see that too. I think I slept on Devin Booker a little bit with MVP talk, but I'll definitely say this: I definitely have him in my top 5 candidates for MVP for this year. I just got Dame and Steph as my top 2. But then for Rookie of the Year,
Okay.
it could either be, I feel like it could be 3 people. It could either be Cade Cunningham, Jalen Green, or Chris Duarte, man. Chris Duarte was going off for the Pacers summer league, then preseason.
Oh yeah, he did his thing too.
He's different, especially if the Pacers aren't as good as they should be this year, and he has to get a lot more playing time because people aren't healthy, and he gets to kind of show what he can really do. Because if the Pacers are fully healthy, they don't need him to play the way he's played in the preseason and in the summer league. But if they aren't healthy, then they kind of will need that. And if he gets a chance to show that this year, I really think he could be a really good candidate for Rookie of the Year. But I honestly think it's probably going to either be Jalen Green or Cade Cunningham.
Yeah, I'm going with Jalen Green. For the Defensive Player of the Year, though, I'm hoping that it's Anthony Davis. Yeah.
Okay.
This is what I want for him. I want him to, play on that end. I want him to focus on that end in order to win that award, because that's something he's been saying that he wants to do, but it hasn't really happened yet. And if he can stay healthy, I think that this is his year to do it. That's always the thing with Anthony Davis.
Okay,
if he can stay healthy. I'm hoping that he can just stay healthy so he can silence these critics, go ahead and win his Defensive Player of the Year, and be an MVP candidate, and the Lakers are where they need to be.
Right. I mean, I can see that, especially, again, he's got a full off season this year. And I just think that he focused on his body a lot this off season to make sure he would be healthy. So I see that. I also got him as my Defensive Player of the Year. A fully healthy Anthony Davis is a Defensive Player of the Year for sure. But I'm going to be honest with you. Mm-hmm. The way that they've been handing out the Gobert, I can see him winning another one too, even though he got 3. I'm just going to be honest with you. I can see him winning a 4th one. I really can. But I do hope that it is Anthony Davis. I think he deserves one. He definitely got snubbed a couple of years ago. And when he's fully healthy, to me, he's one of the best defensive players in the league, if not the best. For my 6th man, I got Derrick Rose.
Okay. For my sixth man, I got Patty Mills.
Ooh, okay. Get into that. It's interesting.
Yeah, Patty Mills, like, he's the perfect sixth man for that Knicks team. Like, he'll come in, bring a change of pace. He has his energy, his shooting, his defensive prowess. He's not the best defender, but he's like a feisty defender. He's a feisty player anyway, and those feisty type players are usually ones that succeed off the bench and win defensive player award. So I like your pick in Derrick Rose as well, though. Get into how you when Derrick Rose not starting. Derrick Rose not starting.
No. Okay. And I don't think he will this year. That's the reason why I picked him for six man. But I don't even want to say now because you just gave such a good explanation about Patty Rose, which was so on point. I mean, about Patty Mills, which was so on point that like I pretty much just picked Derrick Rose because he kind of gets slept on with how well he plays coming off the bench, and I just feel like he deserves a lot more recognition for that. So in my heart, do I really feel like he'll win it? No. But I just hope he's at least a candidate for it, and then more people see how well he plays coming off the bench. That's really what it is. That's kind of why I picked him. But your explanation for Patty Mills is perfect, though. Like that is something that like that makes sense. And I'm glad you giving Patty Mills some recognition because I think a lot of people are sleeping on that move that Brooklyn made. But to me, that's the best move they could have made.
I wanted him so bad in the Lakers uniform, but it didn't work out.
Right, yeah. Trust me, that you picking Patty Mills and not being asleep on Patty Mills with how good he is coming off a bench, even if he's a starter, even if it comes to a point where he has to be a starter.
He's probably going to start some of the games this season, thinking about it.
Well, yeah, that is true. Considering the situation with Kyrie, you got a point there.
You can run James Harden at point guard. If you run James Harden at point guard, Patty Mills is the perfect tool.
That is true. That's a good way to look at it.
Well, perfect tool for what they have on that team.
Right. And then for most improved, Jordan Poole.
Okay. Most improved. I actually forgot about most improved, but we could.
Okay, if you could just think of somebody, if you could think of anybody who you think of. I'll tell you somebody who I know a lot of people
most improved Alex Caruso. How about that?
Ooh,
because he's not a Laker no more. People won't stop hating and actually watch him play basketball instead of just calling him a meme because Laker fans like him. So I'll go with Alex Caruso.
Okay, I can see that. I can definitely see that. That's one of my biggest things. I hope that Alex Caruso gets to prove this shit is that he isn't a meme. Because that is how a lot of people treat him. That he's just a meme, just for the simple fact that they felt like Laker fans overrated him.
Yeah, I'm already seeing it in the preseason. And I'm just like, nah, don't do it now. Don't try to give him the credit he deserves now. When he's been earning the credit, there's a reason he started Game 6 in the NBA Finals. But I'm not gonna get myself heated about this.
True. Let me say another player who I feel like a lot of people are gonna pick for most improved would be Michael Porter Jr. Just because a lot of people really like Michael Porter Jr.'s game. Mm-hmm. Like a lot of people really like his game, and if he has the type of season that even I think he's gonna have, I could see him being most improved. But I just feel like Jordan Poole, because again the Warriors don't have Clay back yet and aren't gonna have him back to start the season. I just think Jordan Poole might have a better season to start because he kind of has to in order to help Steph out to start. So that's the reason why I picked Jordan Poole. Also, he had a really good preseason. Like a really, really good preseason. And now people are calling him the third Splash Brother. So I kind of believe he could be that. Kind of hoping he proves that. So that's kind of why I picked Jordan Poole for most improved. But it would be dope if Alex Caruso won it though.
Right.
For sure. I would like that for sure.
I agree.
But that's it for my awards. Did you have anything else to add?
No, that's all I got. It's been another successful episode of the Point Guard Cast. We'll see y'all next time.